Listen up, people. House article of impeachment against Donald Trump. Whew, that came out quickly. I think that Ilhan Omar and others were pushing for the articles of impeachment to be drafted and issued before the weekend, but they were able only to get them out this Monday. Well, today. The U.S. House of Representatives has released its resolution to impeach President Donald Trump, charging him with incitement of insurrection, an article for which the House is expected to vote on this week. This is almost certainly going to get, through the House. Or has it already? They're pushing 25th on Friday or impeachment on Monday. From what I've looked, they have the votes. Yeah, okay, so I've heard they have the votes. So from what I've heard, the 25th thing is a really big meme. So Legal has a video on this. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but from what I've seen, the 25th Amendment doesn't look like it's the best response here. Not only is it not going to happen, but additionally, it doesn't even really like withhold power from the presidency that effectively. An impeachment is better. Yeah, the 25th requires half the cabinet to remove Trump. I get, like scattershot approach, whatever sticks to the wall, you go with it. But I don't think the 25th is necessarily the best option here. Realistically, this impeachment probably isn't going to go through either. But how based would it be if it did? Resolution that John Trump, President of the U.S., is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following article of impeachment to be exhibited in the United States Senate. And, of course, you all know what this is about, the insurrection that he enabled. Does this also, this does mention his call to the Secretary of State of Georgia. President Trump's conduct on January 6, following his prior efforts to subvert and obstruct the certification of the results of the 2020 election. Those prior efforts included a phone call on January 2nd, 2021, during which Trump urged the Secretary of State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, to find enough votes to overturn the Georgia presidential election results, and threatened Secretary Raffensperger if he failed to do so. This right here, the Georgia call, I actually think on its own, if you ignore everything else that Trump has done, is up there with Watergate. I actually do believe that. Or possibly even worse. Breaking into the DNC to steal files actually feels like it's less significant than straight up fucking attempting to blackmail state officials into falsifying election results. I think this is actually worse. It's actually insane how numb we've become to the shit that Trump does. And by the way, we're going to unnumb ourselves to it the nanosecond Biden's back in office. You know, the moment that Biden is in office, every teeny tiny little process error, every tiny little procedural hiccup is going to be scrutinized to the greatest possible extent for possible attempts at filing impeachment by the Republicans. Obama was pretty exceedingly careful over the course of his presidency to avoid instigating that kind of action against him. And even then, it always felt like he was walking on thin ice. But yeah, with Biden, they're going to start caring again, like really fucking fast. Regardless, Donald Trump has been just a litany, just a nonstop procession of impeachment baits. And this, I don't know, like on its own, that's enough, man. Like, people don't talk enough about how crazy that is. That's a crazy world out there. People don't talk enough about that. It's like insane. You're calling state officials to get them to falsify election results. That's unbelievable to me. That's just such blatant, obvious, upfront corruption. But you know, that's where we're at. Unfortunately, impeachment is probably not going to happen, but yeah. The last time we attempted impeachment, the Republican senators all but acknowledged beforehand that they didn't care about the evidence. If you remember, because the last impeachment was over the Ukrainian bullshit, when Donald Trump threatened to withhold what was guaranteed financial aid to Ukraine unless Ukraine was willing to help investigate Joe Biden. And then when the impeachment went through, the Republican senators essentially said, I don't really care what the evidence is. We're voting to acquit. We're acquitting. We're not we don't care. Yeah. And that's probably what's going to happen this time as well. So, I don't know. Sergeant at Arms just resigned. A lot of people resigning. A lot of people resigning. Rats fleeing the ship. But rats are rats. Whether they're on a ship or in the water or having made it to dry land and escaped into the sewer system of Paris, they are rats. I don't know why I specified Paris there. Maybe I just think of the French when I say rats. No, it's okay. Sorry, I don't even have a beef with French people. Okay, stop. Oh no, wait, Ratatouille. Okay, wait, that's the association in my head. It's not that I'm racist or ethnicist. Okay, stupid ass shit. Yeah, you catch me. This impeachment is important though. The first impeachment, I was 50-50 on. There was essentially no chance of it going through. It kind of felt like a virtue signal, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Even if there's no chance of an impeachment actually succeeding, it can be optically beneficial to lay those at the feet of somebody that needs that condemnation. I'm still 50-50 on the original impeachment. This one, I think, is deeply necessary. There need to be consequences. On every level, there need to be consequences. And every Republican congressman who fails to vote yes on this impeachment, this should be hung over their head for the rest of their lives. I've said this before, but I really do mean it, and I'll always mean it. We do live now in a period where it is democracy versus anti-democracy. Those are that's where the line has been drawn. It's not about austere liberalism versus progressive liberalism. It's not about gay and trans rights versus traditional heteronormativity. It's about democracy versus anti-democracy, and it's a battle we can't afford to lose. Because if we lose the ability to affect democracy, we lose the means by which we make society better. Trust me, if America loses its democratic foundations, the left is not strong enough to resist meaningfully. It is by playing the optics game, by engaging with the system, by presenting good ideas and defending them publicly, that we are able to make the changes that we have. That is what Bernie Sanders has done and what AOC has done. That is what Stonewall did as well. That is what the Civil Rights Movement did. All of the great successes of this country, all the great leftist movements, have been movements which have played upon the existence of democracy. Even back in the abolitionist days, the cries of the abolitionists were rooted in the traditions of American independence and of American exceptionalism. These systems are necessary for us. They're necessary because they give us the bedrock that we need to make the arguments that we need to make. We need that democracy. And right now, a great many Republicans are legitimately, genuinely anti-democracy in the sense that if that coup had succeeded, that is to say, let's fudge some numbers. Maybe Trump has some more friends in the Pentagon. Let's say that they took the Capitol building, they overwhelmed it, they took hostages. Of course, they take the Democrats. The Republicans that are on their side are free to go. The Republicans who have up until this point been supporting Donald Trump's delusion that the election was stolen, they would be fine with that. In fact, I can almost imagine now if there was a military coup afterwards, or if the military took Washington and martial law was declared, I can imagine people like Matt Gaetz. I can imagine people like Ted Cruz tweeting about how, the Tree of Liberty, Josh Hawley, Jim Jordan, how the Tree of Liberty has been watered, how they are happy to have been chosen by the glorious people of this great country to lead. What else could you have expected to happen as blood, drips through the river, in rivers through the halls of the Capitol building, the blood of AOC and all the Democratic senators and Congress people and what have you. They would be tweeting about how this was a necessary and inevitable consequence of the stolen election. I guarantee you, dictatorships are not so petty a thing that people would play this lightly with them without being willing to commit. I guarantee you that in a different world, right now, they would be bartering for gubernatorial concessions. They would be bartering for a seat at the table with Donald Trump had things gone that way. And much in the same way that Loading a gun and firing a bullet and missing is still attempted murder. This being an attempted coup, everyone who participated and enabled it, no matter how much they distance themselves from it now, are accomplices in an attempt to eliminate democracy. And this needs to be hung over their head. There need to be impeachments. We cannot cooperate with these people. Cannot concede a goddamn thing. But I just know that in 4 years, nobody's going to care about any of this. Nobody's going to care about any of this. We'll see, though. We will see. I support this impeachment in large part because actually, it's kind of funny now that I think about it. I support this impeachment for the same reason that Jimmy Dore types support the force the vote thing. They support force the vote because they want to see who really supports Medicare for all. And I want to see who really deserves to have this hung over their head, who really is anti-democratic, you know? I want that brand on them. I would argue, of course, my reasoning is more legitimate, but the logic underlying it is pretty similar. Do you not think this event will be remembered to the same extent in the U.S. as 9/11? Not even fucking close, dude. Listen, after 9/11, George W. had like 92% approval rating and the entire country was united. The nanosecond that the fucking coup went overboard, there were Republicans tweeting that Antifa did it. There is not even close to the same level of like across the board respect for the consequences of that attack. Not even fucking close. Also, allegorically, like if we were to compare it to 9/11, the Republican Party would be the Saudis, or they would be like the Taliban, you know, or Al Qaeda or whatever. In this example. So I don't expect them to work with us in this respect.